Hello, and welcome to Cheers. That's one woman's opinion. I am your host, Carolyn Mills. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm being a little silly today with my little bear face here. Today we are looking at Cheers Season 2, Episode 20, Norman's Conquest. This episode first aired on February 23rd, 1984, 3 days before I turned 4. This episode was directed by James Burrows. It was written by Lisa Levin. Guest cast includes, and I'm going to try to say her name as best as I can, Anne Shadeen as Emily Phillips. She was best known as playing Kate Tanner on Elf. Alan Coss as Alan, Tim Cunningham as Tim, and Steve Gianelli as Steve. Cheers is filmed in front of a live studio audience, was said by Rhea Perlman. So let's jump into our summary. In the cold open, Diane comes out to get another round for the Golden 80s Club. Diane says she will need to make 2 trips. Carla says that a professional could do it all in one. Diane carries 2 trays and balances the last beer on top of her head. Carla yells, "Look, it's Lawrence Welk." The old ladies come running, crashing into Diane and breaking the beer mugs. Where everybody knows your name plays. Sam and Diane are fighting. They argue what they are arguing about. This always makes me laugh when people argue over what they're arguing. I always find that funny. Norm comes in with Emily Phillips, his newest client. They all clap and cheer. Emily is confused. He explains they are just naturally happy people. Diane tells Emily that she is proud of them. The them refers to the working women who rise to be equal or above the men they work with. Because remember, 80s women were definitely really not equal quite yet, but it was a lot worse in the 80s. Her speech is interrupted by a man wanting a beer. Emily goes to make a phone call. Cliff and the other guys think that something is going on between Norm and Emily. Norm says that Emily just wanted to buy him a beer to show her appreciation. Carla says Norm has not noticed how Emily looks at him. Cliff suggests they ask their resident expert in womenology. Such a great term to describe Sam, expert in womenology. Coach says he does not think of himself like that, but however, Carl interrupts him and asks Sam what he thinks. Sam says, "I think she's scouting new territory." Diane tells Norm to ignore the others, as she tells them they're having fun at Norm's expense. Diane warns Norm not to do anything foolish and ruin his relationship with Vera. Norm goes over to Emily, who claims she was getting lonely. He runs back over to the others and says, "You're right, the woman's a she-devil." Sam asks if Emily knows that Norm is married. Norm says he's mentioned her a couple of times. He says his wedding ring is on display where everyone can see it. That pawn shop on Boylston Street. And I actually noticed, because when he's got his hands, like his knuckles are showing. And I noticed I didn't see a wedding ring. Left hand, yeah. I didn't see a wedding ring. So I don't know. I mean, not all males wear them, not even all women wear them. Um, and I don't know in the 80s what the protocol was. I know my father, I was born in the 80s, as I said. My parents got married in 57. Dad always wore his wedding ring. Mom did not like to wear her. She kept it, but she did not like wearing jewelry, so she did not wear her wedding ring. So that might be why. Or, and I have checked for other episodes. Does he have a wedding ring on? And maybe it was just not there to make this line work. So I'm not sure. Diane says that Norm's jokes about beer are getting him into trouble. The guys encourage Norm to go after Emily. Diane says they are encouraging him to commit adultery. Yeah, I gotta know, this kind of did bother me, that they were encouraging him to do this. I mean, the episode was funny and all, but, yeah, encouraging somebody to cheat is never good. Oh, that's just my opinion. Carlos says it's happens all the time, and the only difference between them and Dynasty is the people on Dynasty have better haircuts. Norm asks Sam for advice. Sam tells him, I think it's stupid to jump into bed with someone you work with, Norm. Diane nudges him. Sam is stuck. And Diane says that this is the year his age caught up to his IQ. Sam tells her, that's years away. Diane nods. Another great scene where Diane's insulting Sam. He has no clue he's being insulted and even adds to the insult and still doesn't know it's an insult. The barflies urge Sam to go after Emily. Diane wants Norm to call Vera and hear her voice before he cheats on her. Norm does it, and he sounds like he's talking to an answering machine. Coach asks when he got one, and Norm says he didn't. That was Vera. Another great scene. He when he calls, he's just like, "Hi, this is Norm. It's 8:05 or whatever time it was, and I'm here at Cheers. Call me if you need." And it literally sounds like an answering machine. For you younger people who have never seen an answering machine, it's kind of like voicemail, only everyone can hear it. It's not actually on your phone. It's an actual separate machine, and everybody hears it, not just you. Carla tells him to give Emily what she wants so he doesn't lose a client. Norm tells them all to back off. The guys say they knew he would never cheat. They sing a song taunting him. Da 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 da. Yes, ma'am. Da 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 da. Right away. Like that. Those might be the wrong words. Norm decides to prove that he's not a wuss. Emily is about to leave. Norm stops her and apologizes. He offers to buy her dinner, but she doesn't feel like being around people. So she suggests he that they can make dinner at her place, and Norm agrees. Sam tells him he doesn't need to do this. Norm says he knows and asks, have there been any innovations in the women's undergarment since 1975? Which is basically also means he's probably not had sex with his wife since 1975. I forget what year they were married. It's mentioned, I think, in a different episode, though who hard to say if that's accurate since Norm can't remember anything about his relationship, including, well, he can't remember anything. I don't want to give anything away at this point. Diane is disappointed in Norm. Cliff tells her that man was not made to be monogamous. I just love the reaction that Diane gives Cliff here. She basically thinks he's an idiot, which we've seen before. Um, Sam tells her not to be so hard on Norm because he doesn't have a lot of experience with women. Diane tells Sam she is glad for all the experience he's had. Sam is surprised. She explains his curiosity is satisfied, and if they stay together, he won't need to have sex with other women. Sam is bothered at the thought that Diane is the last woman he will ever have sex with. He comes up with crazy scenarios and tells her, be realistic, Diane. One of the scenarios he comes up with is that a plane he's in crashes and he's on a deserted island with only women who make them his love god. They use him to be his love slave or something like that. Um, I may have mixed up those words, but you get the general idea. And then he's like, be realistic, Diane. Coach asks what to do if Vera calls. Carla tells him to say he stepped out. Coach thinks it's a flimsy excuse, so Carla tells him that he went to the movies with Norm. Coach likes that idea because he and Norm have not hung out together in a long time. The phone rings. Coach answers it and confesses to Vera that Norm is out with another woman. Another great trope where we have the person told what to do and he's all set to do it and then freaks out at the end and messes up the plan. Carla takes the phone and finds out it's Emily. After she gets off the phone, she tells the others that Emily said Norm dropped her off and went to park the car 2 hours ago. He never returned. Carla and Diane bicker whether he chickened out or came to his senses. Norm comes in looking disheveled. He tells them she's an animal. He says he had to escape the fire escape. From the fire escape, sorry. Diane tries to stop Norm. Carla tells him, let him talk. Coach tells Norm that Emily called looking for him. Carl adds, and everybody knows. Norm claims Emily just doesn't want to brag. Sam brings Norm to the pool room to talk to him. Norm confesses to Sam that he's been in his car for 2 hours. He says he gave himself a hickey with the car back. Norm tells him that he had a lot of meaningless. I messed it up. Sam says that he's had a lot of meaningless affairs, and they're not all they're cracked up to be. Norm confesses that he loves Vera. Furthermore, Vera was the only woman he's ever had sex with. Sam doesn't believe him at first. Then realizing Norm is serious, says, "Well, what's wrong with that?" Norm explains that he gets urges but does not act on them. He's not a pig. Sam says he acts like loving his wife is a crime. But Norm explains that guys don't drink beer and discuss wedded bliss. Sam confesses that he envies Norm. He says he thought the more women I conquered, the more it made me a man. Um, this was pretty popular back in the day. Um, Men thought sleeping around made you cool. It made you a true man. Women were not expected to sleep around. Who all these men were sleeping with, I don't know, because they were talking about conquering women and the women couldn't sleep with them. So how that worked, I don't know. But that was the logic back then. It was obviously a double standard. A lot of fathers very much would encourage their boys when they were ready to have sex. Yeah, yeah. And they're like, oh no, don't touch my daughters. And it was very much a double standard. And we see that with Sam. And we're going to see that progress because this is 1984. AIDS is now out. And men are slowly starting to learn, you know what? We can't be sleeping around. It's dangerous. Women are learning, we can't be sleeping around. It's dangerous. Obviously, it didn't stop everyone, but we learn things like you have to have safe sex. Abstinence is the only foolproof, but if you're going to have sex, condoms, birth control, all the other different safe sex, sorry, brain freeze there. Safe sex techniques. We're learning that. 84, this is all happening. So Sam realizing that maybe this is not the best thing is a wise statement actually from Sam. He says how he just wants to find the right woman. Nora mentions Diane and Sam says when they made her, they broke the mold. They had to pretend it was an accident. Norm points out Sam is making jokes now because men fear being wusses. Diane comes in having overheard them. She tells Norm he's a ladies' man. Norm is surprised. She explains women want a one woman man. She tells him that other men aren't happy and want Norm to throw away his happiness to be like them. It's very astute. Norm says he's not going to be ashamed of his love for Vera anymore. He tells the guys he loves his wife and is not going to throw away his marriage. Of course, the gang razz him. So he adds, I'm not going to throw 11 years of marriage. I'm looking for someone to haul it away. And then he starts in with all the jokes again. He goes back to the pool room and tells Diane, oh, shut up. Diane asks Sam, do you believe this? Sam rushes out to hear the rest. And that's our episode. I gave this episode 3 out of 5 beer nuts. It was a good episode, but not a favorite. It was nice to see Norm show his love for Vera, however, if only briefly. And I think this is what makes us love Norm. He is very loyal to what he loves. Vera, his friends, beer, not necessarily in that order. The MVP for this episode was, of course, George Wendt. Best dress went to Sam Malone. He had that nice shirt going on. Grand Slam line between Cliff and Carla. It's right after he finds out about Norm not going through with it. How much shame God made me a man. I don't think God's doing a lot of bragging about it either. Our on baseline between Coach and Diane after Coach makes the statement. She's absolutely right, Normie. The emptiness of their lives causes them to cast aspersions on yours. You can say that again, Coach. No, I can't, Diane. Here's a little known fact. Norm calls himself Stormin' Norman in this episode. This nickname was given to Norman Schwarzkopf after Operation Desert Storm. Then, on March 20th, 1991, the Doomsbury comic strip had Schwarzkopf in a bar, and everyone yelled, Norm! If you like this episode, as always, please join the Facebook group. Cheers, that's one woman's opinion. Sorry. If you're watching on YouTube, you know why I just laughed. When I held up the card for the YouTube people to see, my nose that I have on went through. It was kind of funny. Anyway, you can follow us on Instagram at Cheers One Woman's Opinion Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter X at One Woman's Opinion. Oops, went over too far. Join us on the Reddit group thing at Cheers Rewatch Podcast. And as always, email us at Cheers One Woman's Opinion Podcast at gmail.com. Our next episode is Cheers Season 2, Episode 21. I'll be seeing you, Part 1. Now, please send in your emails to be on the trivia game in a couple weeks for Cheers Season 2, where you will be able to win a Cheers related prize. I'm going to be revealing that prize next week, but please sign up as 2 weeks is your last chance to sign up to get to be on the show. And the first 2 to 3 people that sign up, I will be taking. That email again is cheers. One Woman's Opinion Podcast at gmail.com. I have a hard time memorizing that. So hard. Anyway, thank you. And that is One Woman's Opinion.